Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Mike McCarthy is out in Dallas. Ohio State is in the college football title game, and the Vikings and Rams get set to cap off Wild Card Weekend. But we begin today with the Washington football team getting a fortunate bounce off the goalposts on a final play field goal attempt to beat Tampa Bay 23-20. Washington became the only road team to win the wild card. They were led, as they have been led all season, by their spectacular rookie quarterback, Jayden Daniels. Wilbon, what does this win mean for Washington and for Daniels?
Tony, they've come so far. You know, nationally, people are starting to put together the pieces. You hear the story often enough. You start to connect some dots. You and I have connected all the dots. We did most of them live at the time they were taking place. And so it's stunning that the franchise, which was just an embarrassment, a civic embarrassment, a national embarrassment, a professional industry-wide embarrassment, has now come to this point so quickly under new ownership and under a new general manager and under a new coach and under a rookie quarterback who has the complete confidence of his team. And now he has the confidence of a venue, of the nation's capital. It's almost unthinkable for those of us who have lived and watched it firsthand. And even, like I said, for those of us, you and me, who've covered some of it, the beginning of it. And yet, Tony, I mean, it was a game that could have gone either way last night. It was sort of a pick-em game. It had drama, all the elements of drama. I do feel a little bad for Baker Mayfield. I mean, there were a couple of mistakes in that game. I'm not sure he's to blame specifically, but he was involved in them, so he has to share some of the blame at the very least. But Jayden Daniels, as you said, man, this kid has the poise. He just seems to get it right almost all the time. And I guess those are some of my takeaways.
So I feel sort of uniquely qualified to answer this question because, as you know, I live within the borders of Washington, D.C. And I will tell you in the past few weeks, 5, 6, 7 weeks, something like that, as these last-second wins became almost commonplace, I'd be out walking my dog in the morning between 6 and 7 in the morning. And invariably, somebody would roll down a window and they would lean out. And they recognize me, of course, like they recognize you. And they would yell out this. They go, "Commanders." And there was such joy in the word. There was such joy on their faces. And the people that I'm talking about are people who deliver packages in the morning or pick up the trash in the morning or build houses in the morning or put on suits and get in a car and go downtown to an office in the morning, maybe even on Capitol Hill. And there was a palpable joy in what is going on. Because, Mike, as you well know, this is a resurrection of optimism due completely to this football team. It's this football team, and it is palpable out there. You can feel it. For 25 years, all the joy was gone. It was just gone. And now in the second year of new ownership, as you said, they've hired a new general manager, they've hired a new coach, they've hired a new offensive coordinator, and they've drafted this kid, okay? And this kid, if he stays healthy, is going to keep him in this position for years. Mike, Jayden Daniels is Joe Burrow. He is Cam Newton. He is Lamar Jackson. He is that rare Heisman Trophy winner who comes into the league with confidence, ability, and stage presence. He's got it. He's the goods, Mike.
It seems that all things are now possible for that franchise. When 2 years ago, it was the opposite. It's a 180-degree spinorama.
Yep.
It's a,
No, it's...
Wow.
It is. They've gone from 4-13 to 13-5. It is a complete and heartwarming turnaround if you live here. If you live here.
It was a little loud in my house last night. Neville, Cheryl, a little loud for a Bears fan. It's a little difficult.
I hope you gave Neville my best.
Congratulations.
Love Neville. Neville and I play golf.
The weekend's other 4 games were not close. The Texans picked off Justin Herbert 4 times and won by 20. The Ravens ran literally through the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bills pounded the Broncos, and the Eagles got the better of the Packers. Tony, which winner particularly impressed you?
So I've got a 1 and 1A. They are not quite equal, but they're very, very close. My 1 is Buffalo beating Denver. Denver scored the first 7 points of the game, I think, on its first possession. They did not score after that. Buffalo got the next 31, and Josh Allen was brilliant. My 1A is Baltimore. For the second time in, I think, 3 weeks, they pound Pittsburgh. As you say, They ran at him, they ran around him, and they ran through them, and Lamar Jackson was brilliant. And anybody who is not looking forward to seeing Josh Allen play against Lamar Jackson this weekend is just not a fan of sports. It's that simple. I was wrong on the Houston game. You were right. I never imagined that Justin Herbert, with 3 interceptions the whole season, we have 4 in one game.
Baby.
It's terrible.
4.
And he's had terrible playoff games. He's 0-2. The other one, he blew a 27-0 lead to Jacksonville. I was right on Philadelphia, Mike, but I thought it was going to be closer because I didn't really understand how Jalen Hurts was going to walk into this game, if that was going to work. But Jordan Love was no good. I think he had 3 interceptions. And they didn't score any points at all, in the first half. So for me, Buffalo won and Baltimore won.
Well, for me, just this one pick makes me feel better about my entire prediction preseason that Houston would get to the AFC title game and play Kansas City. Yeah. Oh, they're going to play Kansas City, but it ain't the AFC title game, and they're not getting to the AFC title game. So let's be fair. Yeah. But I was glad Houston won because, as you know, all year I've been saying Houston, Houston, Houston. At least at the beginning of the year, and I felt pretty good about that. And going out and taking it from Justin Herbert 4 times, come on, that's significant now. That coaching staff had that team ready to play, and I can't figure out the Chargers, and it was just a bad game. Maybe it's a one-off. And next, and maybe even most impressively, it's Baltimore, man. That's the football that some of us of a certain age crave and praise. Tony, to see them run the ball 50 times for 299 yards, to see Derrick Henry go, what did Derrick Henry go for? 186 and Lamar Jackson for 81 against the Steelers, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, there's probably 3 teams that stand for, when they're good, defense and stopping you and hitting you in the mouth. Steelers, when the Bears are good. There's a few, the Raiders. The Steelers at the top of the list, and they got starched. That was like Mike Tyson and Spinks.
That's right.
Michael Spinks, it was just a beatdown. So it's Baltimore, and yes, I can't wait to see Baltimore.
Want to see that game.
And Buffalo.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I want to give out one award for the greatest single play I saw all weekend.
What?
And that was the tight end of the Eagles, Dallas Goedert. He takes a pass in the third quarter from Jalen Hurts. He goes 24 yards for a touchdown, and he just posterizes the DB from Green Bay, right? I mean, pushes him away twice like he's taking a gnat off his clothing. I mean, I don't know the kid's name. I don't want to know because it's embarrassing. What a great play that was. We move now to coaching news. The Mike McCarthy drama in Dallas is over. He will not be back with the Cowboys. Jerry Jones is letting McCarthy walk, and other teams no longer need Jerry's permission to talk to McCarthy, so this puts your Bears in play, Wilbon. What now for the Cowboys and for McCarthy?
I don't care about the Cowboys. Jerry Jones will do whatever makes sense for him personally, and if that's Deion, then Jerry will have to share the stage in a way that Jerry doesn't really share the stage. So that it would literally just sort of blow the tops off the heads of Stephen A. and Skip Bayless. It just, they seriously, I mean, so invested in discussing the Cowboys every single day, cottage industry. I don't care about them. So I care about Mike McCarthy, who knows his way around the NFC Central. He knows his way around Green Bay, Chicago, Detroit, Minnesota. He may not be the first name on my list. I'm starting to go with Cliff Kingsbury. I'm starting to feel that a little bit more. But he's right there. And if the Bears hire him, Tony, he looks the part of a Bears coach, a big, beefy, tough guy who had great success when he wasn't dealing with Jerry Jones. And he won 12 games a bunch of times when he was dealing with Jerry Jones. So you can bring him in and say, you're going to mold Caleb Williams. We know that you can go out. You've got the experience here to get a defensive wizard to bring in. So if we hire him, if Mike McCarthy goes to Chicago, I will be excited about that, just like I would, the Lions offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, and I just told you Cliff Kingsbury. I'd be excited for all that. But McCarthy...
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Ben Johnson because you were passing him over for a little while there when he got on Kingsbury, and I know you wanted Ben Johnson all the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know who's going to coach the Cowboys. You mentioned Dion. That's an interesting possibility. Mike Tomlin now has lost 6 straight playoff games. Maybe he wants to move. Maybe he would want to go to Dallas.
For him.
But here, let me point out something that you have said, because you're right. Ever since Bill Parcells left Dallas, Jerry Jones doesn't hire coaches with cult followings. He doesn't do that.
No.
He hires very, very straight-laced people. He hired Wade Phillips. He hired Jason Garrett. He hired Mike McCarthy. And these people do not threaten his authority or his stardom. They are pawns, and Jerry is the king. I don't know that Dallas is a great job right now. I know they have some stars. They have Dak Prescott, who was hurt all year. They have C.D. Lamb. They have Micah Parsons. But Mike McCarthy's a pretty good coach, and he got him to the playoffs 3 times, and he was only 1-3 with them in the playoffs. So I don't know. I'm interested in this. I wonder who's going to mention Mike Tomlin thinking about Dallas opening up Pittsburgh because Mike McCarthy is born and raised in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Born and raised in Pittsburgh. He once told me that he had a job as a toll collector on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. I'm serious about that.
What if he was in Somerset?
And he was 12-5 3 years in a row in Dallas. So you could do worse than Mike McCarthy. And you know who's done worse than Mike McCarthy? The Jets and the Giants. Time and time again.
And the Bears.
Much
4
worse.
times since
And
Lovie
the
Smith. I'd take Mike McCarthy right now.
Coming up, should Ohio State's win over Texas end fans' dissatisfaction with the head coach, Ryan Day?
And do the Vikings or Rams have the edge now in tonight's neutral field wild card game in Glendale, Arizona? I'll take McCarthy.
What do you make of Tomlin? It's time to find out what's rankling the riffraff in mail time.
Mail time?
Pull us out here and see what works. What does Ohio State's win over Texas mean for Ryan Day?
It means I don't think we're going to have to hear about Ryan Day's imminent firing, mostly because he couldn't beat the school up north. That sort of goes away for a while because I personally think Ohio State is going to lay waste to Notre Dame. That's just me going in. I'm not the only one who thinks that. I just think that will happen. And then if Ryan Day wins a national championship, we can probably go all the way to next November without hearing about how he has got to be fired and they got to go get somebody who can beat the school up north. So, you just get a little bit tired. If you do live in the Midwest like I do, even though I'm glad to see Ohio State and Notre Dame, you get tired of that storyline with Ryan Day, and I think we're done with it. That's what that win does.
Yeah. I agree with you completely. It means that they're not going to fire Ryan Day. They're not going to fire him even if he doesn't win the national championship because he won 3 playoff games. He beat Tennessee, he beat Oregon, and he beat Texas. Tennessee was ranked as high as number 4 this season. Oregon and Texas were ranked number 1. Ryan Day beat them all.
Yeah.
I understand that he lost this year to Michigan, and I think he's lost 4 in a row to Michigan. I get that. But his record at Ohio State is 69-10, Mike. 69-10. He's got 1 other loss other than Michigan losses in the Big Ten. So his record against the rest of the Big Ten is something like 40-1. There are people in Columbus who are zealots who want to get rid of him. I understand that. They live in a silo. Good for them. Do you know that Jim Harbaugh was 0-5 at one point against Ohio State?
They talked about firing him.
There are zealots in Ann Arbor who probably wanted to fire him. If they'd fired him, they would not have won the national championship, would they? They would not have won the national championship. No. So,
by the way,
I think
Ohio State, did they beat, did I have this right? Oregon, Penn State, Indiana, Texas, and if they go through Notre Dame, you mentioned Tennessee, if they go through Notre Dame. I mean, my God, how many top 5 teams do you have in that posse? That's amazing.
Right. That's right. It's a lot. Here we go. Here's the next one. Do you expect the Vikings to be the second road team to win during Wild Card Weekend?
Yeah, I do, Tony. And you can't talk about any team from Los Angeles now without dealing with the plight, the tragedy, the great civic tragedy of Southern California. And
that's right.
I'm going to watch this. It takes some of the joy away. I just feel it's probably inappropriate to treat the game and the run up to it like we would any other playoff game. The game is played in Glendale, about 4.5 hours or so east of Los Angeles. I've made that drive a few times in my life. And people need to know that the Valley of the Sun, the greater Phoenix area, it's the upper Midwest. That's the migration. I-95 down to Florida, the Midwest to Arizona. There are Minnesotans all over the place anyway. They live there. That is going to be a home field advantage for the Vikings tonight.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning the understandable nature of moving that game because of the sadness and the tragedy with the fires in Southern California. I had not thought about this, but I don't know how the people on the Los Angeles Chargers, I don't know how they took that out of their minds when they played. I don't know how the people on the Rams can take that out of their minds when they play. I think Minnesota is going to win. I would caution people that this Rams team won the Super Bowl 3 years ago. You know, that's recent times with Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp, and they added Puka Nacua, and they can score on anybody. And in fact, they beat the Vikings this year, Mike. Week 8, they beat them 30-20, and Stafford had 4 touchdowns. But having said all that, I do think Minnesota is going to win. I do think the fact that it's a neutral site game will help them. Yeah. One odd little small fact, Mike, that since the NFL expanded to 14 playoff teams, only 5 of the 29 wild card games that have been played so far, only 5 have been decided by fewer points than a touchdown. Yeah, so it's sort of like the college football playoff at the moment. Enough email. Let's take one last break. Still to come is Mike Vrabel, the right fit for the Patriots job.
And the Cavs take a rare loss. I believe that was at home. How surprised should we be with last night's outcome? Another team is hot. 6 in a row for the team that beat the
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng. Và hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là ngựa vằn. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu làm nha. Mọi người, hôm nay vòng của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là con lừa. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu làm nhá. 9 giờ hôm nay em mới mở mắt rồi.
Ngày nào cũng làm.
Anh làm trăm ngày nên ngày nào cũng làm.
Anh làm ít hơn một ngày bao nhiêu? Anh mà làm nhiều nhưng mà ngày chắc là 6 lâu.
Anh làm ít hơn nhưng mà cuối tháng anh gấp 3. Còn bọn em làm dù có gấp 3 anh vẫn không được như thế. Được. Tiền thì khó kiếm, một kiếm ra thì dễ tiêu.
Tốt nhất là không làm nên là tiêu bị.
Không có tiền thì đói.
Đói đó. Không.
Mọi người màu vàng đây nha. Tiếp tính là màu tím. Và rồi em sẽ phải khóc với những thứ làm em cười. Buồn.
Bây giờ nó có 2 người quay video chính rồi.
Có 2 người rồi ngẫm.
Thế còn cái gì nữa đâu?
Đợt trước rồi nữa là
Đợt trước là nó tự nhiên có người nó mua nhiều video. Giờ hết đát rồi, tại công hơn.
làm gì? Người khác mua mà liên quan.
Em biết rồi.
Thế nên ngày này cung cấp được bao nhiêu video?
Không.
100 video.
100.
100 video. Đợt trước ở cung hình như cũng thế nào, 100 nào.
Không, toàn bị dình cho nghỉ tại vì đủ sản lượng mà.
Bây giờ video này thì không bán cho đội nhà Vinh như thế mà. Đợt trước là có đội thì nhá, bên ngoài mua thế mua đúng không?
Vâng.
Bây giờ thì bán nhà Vinh thôi.
Vâng.
Đợt trước bán cho nhà Vinh thôi mà cũng nhiều mấy người mà.
Thế nên là lâu dần nó chán ra thế. Thế đây em mỗi nhà anh Vinh thôi đây mà em sắp thần kinh mất rồi đây.
Dạ.
Nó nhiều quá.
Có gì mình
Nó Nó lấy video của em liên tục mà không hôm nào em nghỉ một cái là lại nhắc Quỳnh Anh đi làm đều và không có việc làm rồi ấy. Hôm nào nghỉ một phát lên.
Thế đây quay mặt cầm hay chả quay?
Chỉ quay được cái mặt của em thôi.
Nữa. Mặt có tiền chắc.
Cái mặt này nó kiếm ra tiền mà anh.
Ghê vậy.
Người ta cần cái mặt của mình chứ người ta có cần gì nữa không? Lần trước thấy bảo là bảo chèn thêm đứa nữa vào cái kênh của em đang làm ấy, nhưng mà không chèn, để một mình em làm thôi. Thế nhưng mà có được bao nhiêu đâu. Cái em cần là tiền, cái em không cần là cái em cần không phải cái đấy, ghét cái gì.
Thế công an Việt Nam ổn định thế?
Ổn định đâu mà ổn định. Cái vừa tháng trước em được cho nghỉ. Tháng trước báo đủ sản lượng cho em nghỉ, chuẩn bị cho em nghỉ. Tất cả mọi người nghỉ mấy hôm á. Em chả cần để cho nghỉ, em nghỉ luôn 3 hôm đầu tiên. Thế là xong. Nhắn tin lên nhóm bảo Quỳnh Anh ơi đi làm đi. Sau lúc đấy từ lúc đầu tháng, từ hôm mùng 4 đến giờ là liên tục.
Có việc làm, không chịu làm, lừa.
Thì đã bảo là cuối tháng đấy anh Kiên anh bảo là đủ sản lượng rồi thì đầu tháng em mới nghỉ. Ai biết được, xong các anh ở trên kia lại lấy nhiều thế. Anh Kiên còn không ngờ. Đã lăng nhăng thì đừng yêu em vội, cho em cơ hội rồi lại tội em ra. Đời buồn thì di quyết qua.
Ghê vậy.
Đấy thì em vừa quay TikTok xong đấy gớm. Ở trên mạng.
Giờ tất các anh đỏ.
Em không quay đò như vậy, nó cuốn anh ạ. Thôi nên mai lớn thêm một tí nữa lại thấy nó trẻ trâu ngày. Anh không về cày tiền đi.
Công cũng làm này, làm cả ngày đấy. Làm này làm được nhiều lắm. Ý làm cả ngày cái này là công việc chính rồi. Đó. Công việc chính rồi.
Cứ nhỉ.
Tết chả nghỉ. Không mà
Ra Tết.
Ra Tết nghỉ đi đâu? Làm gì? Công ty hay? Công ty nào chưa cho bạn? C là tôi đồng thoại với
Tôi xin chắc là vì cổ.
đồng thoại như này là bắt đi một là đồng thoại hay là hai qua cái chỗ bận cổng chờ đấy thôi, đi làm hoặc là đi làm xa rồi, đi làm xa đi có chịu khó đi được không? Ra Tết cũng được
Xa cho nó.
Sau rồi xin Tết Yên Phong thì đánh nhọc to á.
xuống đấy thì xa thôi, đi xuống đấy xa gấp đôi.
Lần trước em đi làm đấy mà.
Xa hơn gấp đôi xuống cái chỗ đồng thọ đây đúng không? Thế nhưng mà
Đi nghe y tế đấy. Các bạn ơi, vòng của mình hoàn thành rồi. Video của mình đến đây là kết thúc nha.
xin lại
Cái đợt đấy em đi làm là nó không ấy, nó không ở dưới đoạn Đông Thọ này lúc đấy chưa tuyển thiếu tuổi mà em được nghỉ sớm.
nhưng chỉ làm thể vụ mà làm gì về đủ tuổi?
Thì cái đợt đấy nó không tuyển luôn. Em hỏi ở đâu cũng thế, chị em hỏi cũng thế. Xong lúc mà em xin vào được cái công ty ở chỗ Yên Phong được gần 2 tuần rồi, bắt đầu lúc đấy nó mới ồ ạt nó tuyển, thiếu tuổi nó cũng tuyển.
Chỗ Yên Phong lúc nào cũng thiếu người. Ôi không sao. Ngày xưa chặt phải để đi xin đi, giờ mà đánh thì chặt